What's up, you guys? This is gonna be my second ever YouTube video, and I'm doing this, number one, as a challenge for my mentor. Number two, it's my second ever. The first one I did was about 2 years ago. Short form is hard enough, and so doing a long form YouTube video is a whole other beast that I am just not comfortable with, used to. So I don't really have format. I don't even know what this video will entail. I did have one thought, figured I might as well just talk about it, and I'll just do it while I'm cleaning up because that's how it can be less awkward for me. So these are not going to be as polished up as my short term, but it'll get something out there. The past few years I've been doing a lot of discovery and transformation on myself, and part of that was related to getting married, having kids, going through changes in my career. And I'm looking at this because I didn't bring the other lens or the other tripod that moves with me. And in that time, there's just been a lot of waves figuring out what it is that I'm about or what I want to be about. And in that time, as you could probably imagine, going from single to getting married to then 4 or 5 years later starting to have kids, how I prioritize my time and what I want to do with my life changes. Ultimately, I want to do something I'm passionate about, as does everyone, right? And I want to do something that allow me the time to be free. Psych, I thought I was going to be able to clean while doing this, and doesn't everyone have a room like this at one point or another that they have to clean out? So yeah, in that time, I always thought I wanted to do something in real estate. I was promoting in my W-2 job, which I was there for years until recently, 11 years to be exact. I'm gonna go off camera for a second here. And in that time, yeah, I just always wanted to do real estate, but I never knew how I would jump in. And so summer of 23, I want to say 24, I decided it didn't really matter how or what, I was just gonna jump in. I had to just do what I could to just jump in. I knew enough from doing research that I knew where to start as far as meeting people, because as in any business, sorry, I'm off frame, being in network and building relationships is one of the most integral parts of close enough, getting, just growing and building a business. In the time that my wife was building her business, I helped a little bit, mostly with like back end stuff. Yeah, we just found that her relationships was arguably the most important part of building that business to grow at any level. And so going in, I said, well, I know that that's going to be important. And so what I did is in summer of 24, jumped into a couple of communities, paid communities. But for me, I thought it was very important because the years prior, I knew I was interested in real estate at some point, but I didn't do it, right? And so this was a way for me to kind of put skin in the game and show myself that I was serious about finally getting into real estate by putting a hefty amount of money down. And in that time, in those communities, I've not only met people, but I learned stuff at a faster rate that I probably would have learned over time, but I learned it faster because I was working with people that were doing active deals, and they allowed me to be a part of them in one way or another, whether it's just helping underwrite a little bit, or sourcing deals for them. Maybe it's cold calling. I've done many different things, and now and in that time, I just found that I didn't want to do. So if you're following me, it's either because you know me personally, or you're interested in entrepreneurship or real estate at some point. So I'll do this part really quick. In real estate, there are several different things, but the most advertised or talked about things that are out there that people push to newer comers is fix and flipping, wholesaling, lending, and then like buy and hold, right? There's other things here and there, much smaller things, like niches in the real estate world, but those are kind of at a high level. And I jumped into wholesaling at a very high level. It didn't get too in the weeds, but I did the cold calling, did the pulling of the data, did some underwriting, and it just was not fun. The underwriting was okay, pulling information, uploading into CRMs, that was fine. The cold calling, not my favorite. It's just it becomes, I got a sneeze coming. Okay, and there it went. So it just became so, I don't know what, oh, it froze on that. It got old, not fun. People would answer phone calls and then hang up on you. Or I would call either sellers or agents. Sellers, they kind of either don't answer, or when they answer, they'll tell you like, leave me alone, right? Agents, if they answered, they were either friendly, very friendly, and supportive of the hustle, or they were rude and would tell you to stop wasting their time. They'll tell you off. And listen, I know that there is a business in wholesaling, cold calling, and I mean, a lot of great businesses built their business off of that, and that's their form of getting clients and bringing in revenue. It just wasn't fun for me. So a few months into it, I found a smaller community, and that's where I learned transactional funding, and that's where I met a lot of people that I know today. I'm really close friends with, building businesses together, or our businesses together. And I started to really love that niche. And so I dove in, started doing lead gen. Lead gen here looks a little bit different. I'm not necessarily calling random phone numbers that I pull off the web, and although that is a way to do it, it's more so reaching out to people on Facebook and other platforms like LinkedIn, school communities, and just connecting and building relationships, right? And seeing what it is, where they are in their business, and seeing if it is something that I can, if there's a way to partner with them and help them grow. And by doing deals together, we grow together, right? Just inherently it happens. So I found it more fun. Oh, again, if you've been following me, you know this. Not, I'll run through what transactional funding is real quick. There's many ways to acquire a property and invest in real estate. One of the most popular ones is going to a bank and borrowing money from a bank. And in other ways, so borrowing from a bank is either a traditional bank that you and I will go to buy our primary residence, like I did for my house here 8 years ago. And another one is on the investor side. You go to what's called a DSCR lender. We can talk about what that is later. Hard money lender. Or in some cases, you can go to a private money lender. A private money lender can be anyone. It could be a friend, or it could be a professional who lends money. The use of each of those, again, we can talk about later in detail. But there is a different type of funding that I provided that I now do, and that's transactional funding. All of the other ones that I've talked about thus far are funding that is left in the deal after you close on a property, right? So you go buy a property, you open escrow on it, you go into contract, and there's a process before you can get the keys to the property, call it yours. And in that money that you want to go raise or go apply at a bank for, or at a lender to purchase a property, and if you're going to flip it, the cost or the funds for the rehab. All of that stays in what's called staying in the deal. The funding that I do, I just bring the funds to them or for them, and I get my money back before the close of escrow. So when you get your keys, by then I have got my money back. And what I like about it is, number one, my protection is not the asset like it is for the other lenders. My protection is the contracts. I found just enjoyment in doing that. And again, we'll get into details on how that's going, but it's ultimately, I found that I enjoyed that more because I like in my previous job, my role in my previous in my W-2 was looking at an account, and number one, seeing how we can grow that account from its existing process and programs that we have, and also with that client, seeing what other new forms of revenue we can do, right? Which in the end was with the goal for both parties to make money. And so it's very similar to, it just reminded me a lot of that. And so that's what I'm doing now. similar to what I was doing on the wholesaling side, it's a process, right? Because I have to leverage my time. I have to figure out what's the best way to leverage my resources and time. So I can either continue to reach out to people one-on-one, or I can bring in referral partners and do social media, which is why I'm doing this. And so 2 years later, you know, many conferences, many deals done. I've learned what happens throughout the process and which parts of the process I have control over and which ones I don't, right? And so in that, it's been fun. And so that's, I mean, kind of like the past, I don't know, almost 10 years in a nutshell. The past 2 years probably are what I've talked about most. Right now I'm in the process of, again, figuring out a way to grow and increase lead flow while keeping the quality of those leads high, while also making sure that I stay true to myself. And that it's fun, because a big part of why I even did this is to enjoy what I'm doing, right? Like, I don't mind working. I didn't mind working where I was at. I spent years traveling for the company. And unfortunately, while it was fun, they did a lot for me, I did a lot for them. I just didn't see an end to it, right? And so in doing this, it's been very important for me to figure out what it is that that brings me joy, fulfillment, and understanding that there's times it's going to be hard and it's not going to be fun, but at the foundation, I know why I'm doing it, and it's not something I'm miserable doing like I was towards the end of my career where I was. But everyone goes through that, right? So anyways, again, I told you I didn't know where this was gonna go. I don't even know how to end it. So that's me rambling. You heard me talk. I may have more videos like this, or I may not, right? I'm gonna try to post at least once a week, and it might be me rambling, or it may be more structured post, me going through either a deal or contract, explaining further details what I'm doing. I want it to be unlike my Instagram, where I am doing more like 60-90 second drilling into a situation or contract or whatever. Just you following along my thought process as I'm trying to level up as a person, as a husband, father, as a business owner, and hopefully you see the ups and downs of the process. So anyways, I'm gonna end it here. I gotta finish this up because I've now gone filming for 20 minutes and hardly did anything. I can probably finish the rest of it in another 15-20 minutes, but appreciate you for tuning in, and I'll see you later.